Hello, I'm here again this year to remind you what the Christmas season should be about. Now, we all love to shop and we love to have presents and all those sorts of things. And we love to think of Christ in Christmas. Though we know, if we study history at all, that Christ was born in March, or some say even later, and that the reason Christ's birthday was picked as December 25th was because there was a Roman holiday called Saturnalia, where they did do all the decorating of trees and lights and candles and all those sorts of things, and they did say they should be kind to one another. The thing that I want to remind you of more than anything else is that kindness should be what this season is really about. We don't need to worry whether Santa Claus is a Caucasian or a black man or a yellow man, an Asian or a Indian or anything like that. What we need to think about is that Santa Claus is an icon to remind us that we need to be kind to one another and give to one another, not necessarily material gifts, but gifts that are spiritual. We need to realize that each human being has worth, from the meanest and poorest individual to the most wealthy individual, and that we should not lose track of the fact that we are mankind, and that we need to uplift and support one another wherever we can. If you hear somebody say, we can't help them because it costs too much, remind them that they are human beings and that the cost of helping them is far, far less than the cost of just letting them suffer. For so many persons, both in the United States and in other countries around the world, there are people suffering every day. They suffer from hunger, they suffer from fear, they suffer from disease, from neglect. And the countries and places that have the ability to help these people are falling short. They're not doing their jobs. What they are doing instead is justifying allowing the suffering to continue by saying, well, we can't afford it. It's not within our budget. The budget for humanity should be a budget that is bottomless. The amount of funds available to help our fellow men should be endless. And if it's not the case, and it doesn't seem to be right now, then we need, as human beings, to remind those who represent us that we would rather spend money to help people than to provide implements of war with which they might be killed. If we want to do things to help humanity, we should understand that the best things we can do are those things which are benign, which do no harm, not things which we say, well, that's the cost of having to do this. That is completely insane. That's wrong-headed thinking from the word go. And I have seen this for thousands of years. And it has always been one politically minded person or another telling others and convincing them that we can't afford to spend money to help people. And then they get like-minded individuals and they convince them that to help people is a waste of funds, a waste of time, because those people are always going to be that way. There will always be poor people. Some people quote the Bible as saying there will always be poor people. The Bible was not written from the Word of God. The Bible was written by men, and the men thought, well, if we can part these people from their funds by saying there'll always be poor people, but you need to donate to your church and to your priests for maintaining us in our glory, so that we in turn can communicate with God and tell Him to help you have a better life. Well, the only ones who have ever had a better life in those situations have been the priests or other persons associated with collecting money that has been donated to the churches. Look at around you, the churches around you. Look at them. Many, many, many of them are huge, grandiose structures, when the meanest hovel would be sufficient to support worshiping life and the processes which God has brought forth upon this, in this universe. By the way, God is not a person. God is not a genie in a bottle. God is everything. Everything around you, everything you're experiencing right now. God is speaking through me. God speaks through others too, who say, do good. First, do no harm. Follow the golden rule. Peace on earth and goodwill to men. That means no war, no killing, and the best of intentions when you're dealing with your fellow men, no matter who they are. Your fellow human beings, anybody who can help and doesn't help is failing their test. All of us, if we can help, that is wonderful. Perhaps some of you need to get up and get off of your chairs and think about ways to improve humanity, to help those who need help without saying, well, they're going to get something and I never got that. I had to work for what I have. Well, sometimes the situation for them is very different from yours, and you may not understand their situation. The best thing to do is keep in mind, do no harm. Do no harm, and try always to do good. In every way you can, devote every resource you can possibly devote to helping others. That's my message at Christmas time. That's the message this year that I'm sending out to all of you who are my friends, who are people who at least have listened to some of the things I say, and who are reasonable. I tried to grab my hat with the wrong hand. That are reasonable people. You understand that helping others, service to mankind, is the most noble effort we can engage ourselves in. For all of us, and we all have the capability of serving one another. And this is what we need to do. So I'll end this with wishing you all well during this holiday season. Merry Christmas, joyous Kwanzaa, Passover, Hanukkah, any other celebration even Saturnalia for you pagans. I wish you all a good, joyous time and a introspective time where you begin to ask yourselves, what can I do to improve the state of humanity on this world overall? Thank you for listening, and I will see you next year.